How to deal with toxic people and environments as a leader. So, hello, today I'm Kal and this is Stefan. We're going to discuss a follow-up on our last topic, which is a lot to do with toxic environments and how to protect our people, how to avoid creating them, and what we can do after they're already established. So to start off, Stefan, please.
Hello, Kal. Hi to our listeners and viewers. So as you said, today's topic is a continuation of the previous one where we talked about stress. Today's topic is also very acute, and I believe few of the leaders are paying real attention to it. So how to deal with toxic people and prevent creating a toxic environment for our own people. I would like to separate today's topic in two different perspectives. The one for the leaders and the one for the employees. So let's first start with the one with the leaders.
Yeah, and also leaders are always employees.
Indeed, yeah. So we as leaders carry a high responsibility for forming the working environment. There are ways leaders accidentally stress their employees. There was a recent article that I've read in HBR which describes it so accurately, the ways leaders impact negatively the working environment. So there are a couple of things that I would like to turn the attention to. First of all, the used language. Even if a leader tries to look calm, the usage of words like pressing, urgent, shocking, even softer words like challenging might provoke anxiety and stress in the employees. For me, try to explain the bigger picture. Why is this so urgent? Why is it important for the organization, for its mission? When would it end? How you as a leader will shelter the storm and protect your team? There are actions that leaders sometimes make is inconsistent actions, moods or behaviors. I understand that sometimes you just need to grab the opportunity, galvanize the troops, but be cautious about it. Again, explain the opportunities you see, the plan, provide a larger picture. If you bend under pressure from above, for example, or from the environment, the external environment, be aware of it, know your knee-jerk reactions, try to avoid them. Be more self-aware. A third unconscious action that provokes stress in the employees is ignoring your team members' emotions. Your team is bucket of emotions, especially in tense time, in challenging times. If you are excited, most will be anxious. So you should sense precisely these emotions and address them. The key here for me is empathy. You will only succeed if you are focused on the people around you, not yourself. So Kal, I would like to hear your take on this question. How can leaders impact positively the working environment?
First, as always, I would say that it's our responsibility and our responsibility only. And I mean it in all of the contexts. Like, you are a leader, but you can also be a follower, and not only to the ones that rank above you, but also to some people in your staff. For example, I'm a big fan of meritocracy, and if someone has a knowledge or competencies around a certain topic, I will always put more weight on his or her opinion. It's goes to alignment, and I mean alignment from the CEO down. Like, no, if it's a big organization, you may lack alignment with your upper level. For example, you might be frustrated with your leader, but in the same time he misses something from above to really share the vision, to really give you the values that you wanna embody to do that work, to really relate yourself with that work. But there goes the difficult balance that a leader should do, because even if you missed something from above, maybe it's a crisis situation and the board is very busy and they cannot give you that time. It's just another quarter, and maybe you're a public company and the pressure is too high. Mm-hmm. But when you have the opportunity to empathize with your guys and gals, you might want to create a picture out of the things that you already know. You have more conversations with upper levels. You know more about the situation of the company. You can create a picture around the important parts around the project which are going to move the company forward. Or even if it's a mundane task, you can give it sense by explaining how many different pillars of the organization these mundane tasks impacts. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And if you are not creating stories, if you're not creating pictures, you're not really getting through your people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So communication is a key here.
Yeah, for sure. And also ownership. If you miss something from above, find your time to fill the gap, but in the meanwhile try to create something that will work for your people, because you know them best, you're closest to them from everyone else. Align yourself with the company goals as much as you know about the goals. Align yourself with the needs of the employees, and create a vision on your own. Like, every level can have a why, every level can have a vision, because it's not necessarily the thing that will bring most money. It's not necessarily the thing that will doing the project that will impact the most people, but this doesn't mean that there is no crucial impact for the company. So if you're able to explain this, people will be engaged and they won't feel the need to sob and to be negative and to be to feel excluded or something.
Yeah. So communicate, align with the goals and with your employees, with your people, and include everyone, because if one perceives him or herself excluded, that his attitude becomes negative.
Absolutely. So one of my favorite books about conversations is called Crucial Conversations, and I mention it a lot because there are some simple things inside this book that make all the difference, like the shared pool of meaning. When you're in a room with the people that are, let's say, reporting to you directly, if you don't take the essence of everyone's opinion, you are not going to make fully aware decision, fully informed decision. So maybe there are different types of people. They are triggered in a different way to share. First, you have to create a safe space that no input is being framed as dumb or not wanted or whatever. Because
not worthy.
Yeah, because sometimes people are feeling out of their place to talk to you if you create such a culture, such a behavior, and there are certain people that don't care and they will share their opinion. I like those people, but your job is to foster that, to be able to extract everyone's opinion, so they give you the most content that you can possibly have on a topic. Maybe your decision will not be final even. Like you have to take this to your boss. But then when you have the full picture and add on your experience, your observations, then this becomes a flow, like a two-way flow. And otherwise, it's just some people making decisions somewhere in a dark room and no one is involved.
Yeah.
There are topics that are like so, and they relate to things that operational workers don't even care. So for everything else, we can separate the behaviors as much as possible. Like, and this is also a job for the leader to be a good follower. You want to ask your own feedback. Maybe your leader is very busy. Maybe he's under a lot of pressure. But ask for feedback. Ask for small guidances. Don't be needy, of course, because there is a thin line, a balance of being needy and just wanting to quickly check around something. Be concrete about the topics. But this will, if you do that and you show your type of operation, type of execution is like that, then you're going to urge your people to do the same.
Yeah.
They to come to you, to not be afraid to share opinions, to have ideas, and this in the end creates a more soothing environment and a way that they can feel safe and they can feel connected to the things. Not necessarily, again, mindset. I want to share my opinion. I don't care if it's taken, if I'm right or wrong, but this is the thing that I'm forming throughout all my knowledge, so I want to share it. And my happiness is built around being able to share it, so I will find a way to share it.
Yeah.
Not impose it, but share it. Yeah.
But the leader should be open-minded, should be open to accept the opinion of the lower levels. Because every opinion counts at the end, even.
But why accept? Why not respect? I mean, I sometimes hear opinions that bring absolutely no value, and I respect the person because they shared. Next time they will hit the spot and it will be dead on. But I will respect that also. I will not say one is better than the other. I will respect the behavior, and then it's not about gratification. It's not about, oh yeah, you're the best because you said the most intelligent thing today. It's about being able to go out there and share, and this is what I will respect in my leader, and this is what I will respect in the leaders that are reporting to me.
Yeah, totally agree. But this means to create the appropriate environment. For
of course.
People to be able to share.
It starts with the people.
Yeah. Really interesting. So now let's go to the other question, to the other topic in this episode: how to deal with toxic people, such that drain out your energy, provoke negative emotions such as anxiety, unnecessary stress, negativity. They could be managers or overly demanding, even intimidating ones sometimes, colleagues. One way to deal with them is, again, to know yourself, to understand the impact of the annoying behavior over you, try to limit it in some way. For example, go in a different physical space, different office. Oftentimes this is not possible. Then you can try to isolate yourself, like through noise cancelling headphones. Just ignore the colleague who induces such negative feelings. Manage your fight response. Focus more on the team goals, not and less on the toxic peer that provokes these negative emotions to you. If it's a if it's a colleague or a manager, try to speak to them what annoys you with them, and try to find a way to solve the problem and to correct the problematic behavior. What is your advice for?
Yeah, when I hear correct a behavior or something like that, when you think about it in that way, what makes you different than the one that is imposing a behavior as a general? Because it's in the end it's all an opinion. We all have a stance around something, and when we go to the highest levels of culture, if some definite ways of acting are promoted in a company, this is the culture. What you do is who you are. This is a very nice statement, and there is a whole book named that way. All the people know that I'm a bookworm, but I also had a lot of more than a decade to experiment a lot with leadership techniques around culture. We not necessarily understand culture, because if you're in a large organization, culture can have its own way, even in departments. Sometimes departments are over 100 people, so they have their own culture. And if the alignment is not perfect, it can be really different from what is meant to be from the upper levels. When you feel some sort of, let's say, intimidation or nerves popping when you are around someone, no matter the level, if it's a peer, even a subordinate, I think the right way to go is trying to address it as putting some boundaries with the person, like stating your path, telling I'm all about this, just explaining what are the important things for you in the workday, what are the things that you don't want to spend time on, for example, and what is the type of communication that you like and dislike in the separate manner. And if he doesn't, let's say, win the situation, you should be able to talk with your leader. And of course, if it's the leader that puts stress on you and so on, then this is a personal challenge in which you can find the strengths to find the common way. Find a way to be with your leader as a separate being, and do not entangle yourself with some behaviors or some sort of habits that your leader has. It doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean that he's right or she's right. It means that you are aware that you're two different people. You are aware that the person has merits. So there must be a reason because the person is there. You know your qualities. You respect your own qualities. And then, again, it's all about mindset. As usual, if you say, like, if you order your thinking in a way that it will promote you growing out of this situation, you did it the right way. So if you say, okay, I see this type of behavior, it has some negative impacts on me. What can I do to make it better on my own? Like, how can I address a certain conversation that will bring more empathy into the leader, or that will bring more consideration into my leader? And what will be the way that I'm going to accept better the things that I'm told, like the task that I'm given? Should I look for the delivery, how he speaks, because this is one of the things maybe that you can never change, or should I look for the challenge into the tasks? So if you pivot it so it's not an external cruciator and it's an internal challenge, then you win in this situation. Every situation you can pivot in a personal growth challenge, you win that situation. You might try to become the communicational master, to be able to deliver your opinion and the things that you have to say in such an influential way that your leader stops and listens, and then this might change even the attitude. You never know. But you won't know if you stop trying and you just fixate that this is it and what I can do about it. Should I go to work in the basement or whatever? Yeah. So it works the same way as if it's with a employee, with a peer, or with the leader. Of course, with the leader it's a bit more difficult because there the stance is different. But again, there are ways to lead up, and I'm not. People always misunderstand this. This doesn't mean that you're telling your leader what to do. It means that you show your merit. Like how I like to see merit from the guys that I'm leading. I try to show by an influential way my merit without trying to push it. Like being absolutely clear and transparent, then just this is my point of view, this is my take on the situation, and I'm perfectly okay if it goes another way and another decision is made. But I just wanted to 3-5 minutes to share, and this in the long term changes the relationships as a whole.
Yeah. Again, communication, sometimes
collaboration.
Actually, every time collaboration, but sometimes ignoring the way a message is delivered, but try to extract the essence of it. Alignment, again. Yeah, really intriguing advices, of course.
Arrangements of our beliefs, arrangements of our mindset and our view on really simple day-to-day stuff. It changes everything.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier said than done, but
it's always easier said than done. If something is simple, it doesn't mean that it's easy. So the simplest stuff that make the most difference are the hardest stuff to do. To create a habit, you need 21 days in a row to create the first insignificant particle that is called a habit. Then to create a long-term habit, you need 3 months, which is 21 multiplied 3 and some
half,
and a half. And then to make a lifelong habit, you need 18 months, which is a year and a half. And how many people can do something for a year and a half without stopping?
Not many, I guess.
Not many, but if you manage to do it, you make a lifestyle. So if you decide, I will concentrate on learning, and I will continuously learn for a year and a half. So if this doesn't change you as a whole. Yeah, and the more you learn, the more you understand that there are certain topics in your life that you always neglected, that you had for granted, and you never look twice in that direction. As we spoke about with you, sometimes a belief is made in the 4th grade from your 4th grade teacher, and then you realize that you are behind your 30s and you still believe that. You never challenge that. Yeah, if you decide to go in that direction, all of a sudden, some magic stuff can happen.
All right. Thanks for the interesting talk. Final words from you.
Final words to wrap up the topic. Toxic environments, sometimes misalignment. Not every time people are deliberately toxic. maybe it's misunderstanding of the culture, because if some behavior was mistakenly approved more than 3 times, then it's stuck. Nobody said, okay, this is not cool, and it's stuck, and then it's, there you go, the toxic environment. And to change this on every level, there is a way. The first most important thing is to really want to change it and not ponder about it, and find a way to do so. Because if you really respect the place that you work in, if you really like what you do there and what you achieve there, maybe with years, maybe with it doesn't matter the time period, then this deserves your efforts. And if you try and succeed, always try to do it for yourself. This is the only way you guarantee your happiness. Try to do it for yourself, and in helping yourself, you will help others. Like if I make challenges to myself, I'm feeling gratified, but I always organize those challenges that in the way that they will mostly help my team. Like, my personal challenge will be to help the team, to help the others. And I feel happy because I did it for myself, but actually the whole reason was to help them. And I am sure that we are not going to speak about such topics for the last time, so let's leave some sugar for next episodes. I want to thank you guys for listening, for watching. Subscribe and share our content, smash that like button, and beware for a lot more in the future.
Yeah, thank you guys.